What I am going to show you today is going to change your life. If you ever struggle with creating a plan for anything in your life, but especially within business, you've just been given a big project, you have a business of your own, and you have all of these ideas, but you're not sure how to put them into a executable plan, I'm going to show you the simplest way to make a plan in about 10 minutes. Honestly, I do this for everything in my business, and it takes me probably less than 10 minutes to do it at this point. And then what I'm going to show you becomes the foundation for your entire project moving forward. And when I say project, that could be your business plan. That could be your marketing plan. That could be your sales plan. Are you with me? So I'm going to go through it with you step by step, and then you're going to try it for yourself. And you are going to be amazed at how something so simple can absolutely change the entire way that you look at planning and execution. Okay, so enough talk. Let's jump into it. Okay, this is a super simple Google Doc that I will link to so that you can have it. And we're just going to take it one step at a time. So let's say that the project name, let's just like pick something. Let's say the project name that you're working on is that you have an event coming up that you want to launch. So the project name is whatever the name is of the event name, and maybe the year. And that's going to bother me, so I'm going to unfold that. Okay. Then you go straight into your objective. Your objective, like, don't overthink this, but your objective is, what do you want to achieve? Keep it super simple and short. And if you can't answer this quickly, then that is a sign that you have a gap in your business. You have a gap in the reason that you're doing the event, right? And we could even just say brand awareness, but typically the event is to reach my ideal audience. And you know what else I do here is I put like the exact number. So to reach, let's just put an exact number, to reach 300 of my ideal audience, deliver value and guide them towards action of my coaching program, right? Like something super simple that you've got a measurable number with it to reach 300 of your ideal audience that you want at this event. You're going to deliver value and you're going to guide them towards the action that you want them to take, which in this made up example is to join your coaching program. So the strategy, the next part is, what's the shortest path to reaching that goal? I linked to a business assessment worksheet here that kind of allows you to go through like how you're doing on your email, your website, your paid media, SEO, kind of all the different ways that you can reach somebody. So if you don't already know that, you can go through that exercise first. But let's just say that the strategy is that we are going to conduct lead generation campaign 3 months prior to promotion of event, and then work the database via email marketing. Okay, I'm not saying that that's the strategy you could do. I'm just giving an example of how specific it is. We're saying that we are going to heavily promote this event via email marketing. We're not doing paid ads for the event, at least in the strategy that we're putting here. And in order to grow our database, we're going to have a lead generation campaign, which will include paid ads leading up to it. Okay, so just something super simple that's like a high level of your strategy. Another strategy might be monthly webinars to reach new audiences and upsell into event, right? Like we're creating a funnel, but this happens to be a marketing example that we're doing here, but you could put whatever makes sense to your business. The objective should be the easy part. That's what you want to achieve. The strategy, I feel like that's where people get lost, because they're like, I have so many things that I want to do, but you really want to narrow it down to the one maybe 2 things that are really going to move the needle towards this. Okay, we're going to get into action steps later where you put everything. This is just what's the overarching strategy that you're going to do that's going to get you there in the fastest and shortest path to it. Okay, the success metric, how will it be measured? So for this, it's easy because it's ticket sales, right? Ticket sales, and we know that our goal that we want to reach is 300, and then we're going to be measuring the actual every step of the way to make sure that we're hitting our goals. So you'll want to make sure that you've got a very simple success metric that you and your entire team can rally behind, and then you want to put up tracking in place, whether that's daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you decide that makes sense for you, that everyone is like up and visual and everyone can see and be excited about it. So you know when you need to put the pedal to the metal when you're not getting to that number fast enough. All right, the next step, and see how quick this is? The next step, we don't want to overthink it. You can always go back. The next step is the key stakeholder. So who needs to be involved to make this happen, right? You're going to need the CEO. You're going to need, I don't know if you need the CFO and the COO, right? Just like determine who needs to be involved. I would put their actual names. If you have an agency, like everyone who needs to be involved in executing this project. That's your action team for this specific project. It's not the team that you're briefing on the project or even getting maybe approval from. It's the action team who's implementing this, is how I look at that. Timeline, right? We said 3 months ahead of time, and then we're going to promote the event. So let's say it's 6 months starting today, whatever the date is. And then we go into key deliverables to measure. I think in this case, it might be like, how many tickets have we sold from different audiences? So a lot of times when you're selling event tickets, you're getting tickets in group packages, individuals, online, maybe of coaching members you're selling to. So I would kind of list out all of the different audiences that are coming for that. But again, don't overthink this. This is a template that you can fill in that makes it work for your individual project, but it gives you these buckets to answer, so it makes it easy. The next step, action items, questions, is really where is going to be your working document. This is the area where you can put tables in. Sometimes I'll put, let me just show you quickly. I'll put a bunch of tables in, and then this will be like what it is, who's responsible for it, and maybe notes, right? So if we have to design the assets, right, like the creative, the artwork, all of the stuff that we're going to need for all of the marketing, then that's going to be our graphic designer. And then I would probably link this to a separate doc that has everything that we're going to need. Like that's just a brain dump of everything that you need for an event. And what's so great about that is that now you have this doc that you can use over and over again for events that you would send to a designer and say, I'm going to need all of these different creative assets, right? I'm going to need a web banner. I'm going to need an email banner. Of course, all your different social media dimensions, right? If you're running ads, like everything you're going to need, and that's just design. And then there's video. So everything you're going to need to promote the event, before the event, after they sign up for the event to get them to be excited to show up, on site at the event, and then after the event for the upsell into whatever it is, right? So you can see that if I say it that way, that's a lot to think about, but I'm chunking it down into these like super 10,000 foot level steps that are making it digestible. And then this one doc becomes the foundation for everything. Then I can link out to other docs that are specific to different people, different key stakeholders. Does that make sense? So I would just keep going down this list, pricing, right? And keep it super high level. We need to figure out what the pricing is for the event, whoever decides that. I'm just putting CFO. And then I would type notes, like as we're talking, I would put notes in here, right? $297 early bird, because then later when it comes back and we're like, what's the pricing? We have it documented if it's final, or it's a great place to come back to remind us of what we talked about, right? Because we've got so many things going on. Again, this serves as the foundation where any of those stakeholders can come into this doc at any time and remember what we talked about. This isn't a siloed doc. This is a shared doc with everybody. The other thing that I love to do in this area, get out of the table, is I'll add questions. So if I'm just doing a project for the first time and I have a little bit of information someone gave me, I will still do this exercise before I talk with them. And then I'll just put questions. Who is our audience? How much are tickets? Is there an early bird, right? Like whatever questions I have in my head that I need someone to answer for me so that then I can go off and execute, I'm going to put all those here so that the next time we meet, we can answer them quickly, or somebody can just come into the doc and answer them right on the doc. See, like we're moving very efficiently by having this foundational project scope. Okay. And it's not in a, you could use online software. You can use Asana, you can use Basecamp, you can use Trello, all of these things. I have just found that keeping it very simple like this works really well for me. And then I can print this, I can bring it to meetings, write on it, keep it updated. This works for me. This works for my clients. This works for my team. But do whatever works for you. The foundational buckets here, I think, are the big takeaway if you want to use software, of what are those different buckets that you need to answer, and then not getting overwhelmed about answering them. All right, let me go back to this open area. So this is really where you're going to spend the majority of your time as you're executing. So questions, that's kind of before and ongoing. The table here is the action items that have to be executed on. You might want to add another column here for when it's due. Deadline, due date, right? To make sure that you're staying on top of it. Another thing I do for the table, not to confuse you, but sometimes I do spreadsheets because I just need the functionality of the spreadsheet to do it, and I'll link to it. So again, this serves as the foundation, but then you can link out to other documents that you need. That's the beauty of this. Okay, the other thing I do in this open doc, and sometimes higher up, is key learnings. And I love this because it's for after the project is done. So I'll go back and say, you know, we needed to think about, you know, there was a increased response to early bird special. Whatever happened during it that we couldn't fix right then and there, but we want to know for later, I'm going to document that here. I usually have about 10. And this area is awesome for the debrief meeting after the event. Hey, how did it go? And everyone's sitting around the table like, I thought it was really great. But, you know, there's like no specifics. This is where you get specific about like during that time, the coupon code didn't work, or people were confused about the pricing, or we really should have had different seating on site. Whatever that is, like just document it here again in this foundational piece. And then when you can come back to it, even the next year when you're doing the event again, you can come back and look at the stock and be like, oh, that's right. We need to fix the pricing because that was confusing to everybody. Let me scroll up. The other thing that I do, and it's not in these buckets, so I'll just put it down here. The other thing that I do is I just do important links. And as the project is being executed, I'll link it here. It's the website link. It's the checkout page. It's the thank you page, right? Like just kind of at a glance, where do I go to get information about this event? Your customer service team, your sales team, everyone's going to need to know this information. So that again is the beauty of having it all in one place. There's so much stuff I put on this doc. It doesn't usually get past 2 or 3 pages because I'm linking out. If it needs to be more than that, I'm linking out to other pages. But it really is an easy place to say, let's pull up the project scope. Let's go see what else is here. I'll also put like if there's coupon codes, you know, where's the event, all of that sort of stuff. Like, look how simple this is. I can just put it all right here, early bird. And it's just this like at a glance place where I can get all of the information and it's holding me accountable to it. So if I go back up to the success metrics, you know, how many times have you been in a meeting and these metrics always change? Well, I thought we were going to sell this many tickets, or what about this? No, here's what we said. We're going to sell 300. You might have a stretch goal. Well, if we sell 500, that'd be great. But this is kind of where you're putting the final answer. So everybody is aligned around what you're doing, why you're doing it. Let's go up. What you're doing, your project name, why you're doing it, the objective, how you're going to do it, very high level how, your strategy, how you're going to measure success of it, right? What's the goal and how are we going to measure success? Who is involved? Who's doing what? You could even go down to roles and responsibilities in this area if that's important to you. What's the timeline we're going to be spending on this? Deadlines that we have to hit. And then here's where we get into the nitty-gritty of the actual execution of it. Right? Can you start to see the value of having a document like this that's super simple, that every time a question comes up from somebody, what are we doing? Why are we doing it? Boom, let's go look at the project scope. So I highly recommend trying this for yourself. Make it your own. This is what works for me. But I do this for like everything in my life. Like if it's for my business, even if it's a potential client that I'm talking to, as I'm on the phone with them, my mind is already going to what is the objective they're trying to achieve? What strategy would I recommend for them? How would we measure that? There might just be questions in some of these areas, but I'm at least going through this process so that we can, once we start working together, we can start acting quickly. And I already know the questions that I'm going to need to be answered. And it also shows them the areas that we might have gaps, or they might have gaps that we need to work together on first to answer before we can start executing. Right? Let me just hit on that really important point right there. You have to have these key elements before you get to executing. I'm going to say that again. You have to have these key elements before you get into executing. Why? Because then you know exactly why you're executing something, how you're going to measure success of it, and the entire team is aligned around what's happening and is excited about the actual implementation of it and getting to the result that you're trying to achieve. Otherwise, it's just chaos, right? And so spend 10 minutes and be aggressive. Make sure that there's an objective, a strategy, and a success metric that you are all aligned with before you start executing anything. I promise you, if you take the time to do this and you really help people get to this point, that you're going to achieve more results and better results faster. You and your clients and your team are going to be more aligned and more excited about what you're doing for whatever project that might be. And you're just going to have more joy and fun in your day because you've taken all that stuff that's in your head that's so important to answer and you've put it down on paper before you even get started. All right. So I hope that this helps you. I'm always wishing you success. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.